How's it going, guys? Dr. Z here, and I'm here with...
You're with Kun Gabriels, who's the animator on this brand new game we're showing, Swords and Soldiers 2.
So, you guys just recently announced Swords and Soldiers 2. So, how did you feel? Did you guys feel completely ready, or you guys still feel like you need more time?
Oh god, it was so scary. As an animator, I've worked on this project for a year and a bit already, and just not being able to show anything, and then suddenly being like, here's our product, was just such a, it's just so scary. You don't know what other people think. We did feel like we're at a point where we were, totally ready to show the product, but it's still, it's always up to the audience, right? Up to the fans to see whether or not they enjoy the art style and the new things we did with it. So yeah, it's totally scary.
Have your fans been supportive? Have they shown so much love or anything?
Wow, we were actually kind of scared about, and now after going from PC to something else, that maybe fans would be, that the first comments fans would give would be like, oh, but where's the PC version? But we're actually getting so much support on our Wii U release choice. People just saying, finally something I really want to get for the Wii U. I'm so excited that you're doing a sequel on the sequel of the Wii. Because this, after all, this is where Swords and Soldiers 1 started on, on Nintendo, Nintendo's little console on the Wii. And so it seems like pretty, apt to also have the sequel to be, on the Wii U itself. So yeah.
Shall we get started?
Yeah, of course, let's go. I guess not. It crashed.
It happens.
I'm sorry.
So while this is loading, have you guys talked about release dates or anything?
Well, we are working our butts off in order to get it released as soon as possible. And we're really trying very, very hard. But we don't really have a concrete release date just yet. This year would be really nice, but, we'll see where it goes. There's just so much to do, a lot of things are already in place, though. We have the campaign structure set up, we have the dialogue set up, the levels are playable, or almost all the levels are playable, but they still need to look pretty, right? We need to make sure that the design, that the levels are nice and decorated, and that you guys have an optimal experience. We really want to give the best possible 2D RTS on the Wii U. We really want to give you a nice, polished, hand-drawn experience, kind of.
So you said that you are the lead animator, so you're the one that came up wanting to come up with this nice 2D drawn art style. Was it you that came up with this idea, or was it a combination of everyone else?
Well, no. Well, the short answer is no, it wasn't me. The long answer is, of course, as an animator, I also have a concept artist above me, Gijs Hermans, who's actually great. He did the majority of the art, or he did all the art basically. He sets the style, and then we have to adapt to it as kind of the grunts of the building. I'm not the lead animator, by the way. I'm just one of the animators. Martin, on the booth right here today with us, is actually another animator. He does most of the characters, and a lot of the artists kind of also, they have some skills. They know how to animate, so they bump in here and there, and they help wherever possible. But yeah, so the art style gets set by a concept artist, and then everybody else kind of follows, tries to stay as close as possible to this art style.
So let's try this one more time, all right?
Yeah, let's try it one more time. Oh, it's working now, so it's totally going to work. There you go. All right. So Swords and Soldiers 2 is going to have a nice campaign map, like an overview map, kind of like Mario 3, where you just have different nodes, which each represent a level of the campaign, where you follow Redbeard along, just like in the original, with this kooky group of companions, and where he has all sorts of cool adventures. Each of the campaign levels are handcrafted to kind of be a nice twist on the traditional RTS genre. So, base, make sure that you build a lot of guys, destroy the other people's base, and move forward. So far, every campaign level that we've had actually has a nice twist to it. So instead of, destroying the enemy base, you need to gather more crates than the other guy, or you need to escort people, or you need to make, a lot of very tactical decisions, and that's something we're really trying to do. Like, we're really trying to give people variety rather than the same thing over and over and over again. However, while you're on the campaign map, we're also going to have like little, randomized like events walking around it in between the nodes, where you can own your skills in more of a traditional RTS combat and like, kind of use what you've learned in, a normal setting, basically. All right, so you're going to go down now to the golf course. You just had a big fight as Redbeard, and your grandfather has invited you to play a nice, relaxing game of golf, which the Vikings obviously invented. But since this is an RTS, we'll see how it goes, right?
So is this game mostly text, or is there some audio, like voice acting involved?
So what we're planning to do is to have Simlish, kind of like Gibber Speak, because we really want to make this like kind of also cool experience for people who stream or make YouTube videos to kind of interpret the characters in their own unique way. So we're trying to like really give them the time and like the space to use their own voiceovers or do silly dialogue or stuff like that. We are going to have like a general, like a narrative voice to kind of maybe, explain what's going on, basically. All right, so as you are already able to see, what we're really trying to do here with Swords and Soldiers 2, as opposed to the first game, is give it an upgrade in terms of visual style, gameplay, and jokes. The jokes are coming right now. So that's Caddy McLonglife. He's apparently sleeping. Or maybe not.
Or not. Whichever. Or he's probably hibernating, whichever is good.
Exactly.
So, is this game, who's your target audience? Are you aiming for more kids because of this art style, or are you like trying to more like, since the game, this is the sequel, are you trying to grow up along with the players?
We're going up just a bit. Like the previous one was literally kids and teens, and this one's going to be teens and a bit later, basically, in terms of the references, and just the jokes in general, and like a couple of the, here and there, just everything's a bit more mature, and it's going to be a bit more hardcore. Like the design-wise, you're going to have to think a bit better. Like the first game was just a bit easier than this is, basically. I've already walked up to the designers myself while playtesting and been like, how do I finish this level, right? And they'd just be like, just think, dude, like use your brains. And after a couple of after a couple of tries, you really kind of like need to figure out like a nice solid tactic for yourself in order to make these levels. That, of course, yeah, that's a bit harder, but at the same time, it's a lot more satisfying. Despite everything I've said so far, we've already had 6-year-olds sit here on this sofa, grab the DRC from my hands, and just finish the level in one go. So, I mean, if they can play it, why not? It's totally cool. Okay, so this game, just like Swords and Soldiers 1, is going to have the standard things. It's going to have units, just like every other RTS, spells, which can support your units, and research, where you can tech up to new units. Your basic builder has appeared just now. This is Olga. One of the Olgas is married to Redbeard, and she puts him in his place quite a couple of times. She is a sassy woman. She knows what she wants. Because we figured, we're kind of done with the stereotype. Like, it's time for a couple of strong women to actually enter, video game land and kind of be a bit more realistic and be a bit stronger. So yeah, that's definitely what this character is doing. What you want to do is you want to create a couple more Olgas, which you can do through either the same controls that we had in the PlayStation 3 release, which is basically holding the trigger and then going up with your thumbstick and hitting A to confirm, which I'll do for you, like this. But because this is a Wii U game, right, you also have a touchscreen. So you can just tap the icon once it's cooled down, tap it again, there you go, and you're building units. Okay, so just like any other RTS, what you want to do is you want to build up a nice economy and then kind of go for, teching into more offensive, just into offensive units, which you can do like that, exactly. It's either mapped to the X button or you can use the touchpad once again. So everything outlined in yellow are units in this screen, Everything with the blue outline are spells, which will support your units, and the more coppery color, those are buildings. Yeah, so you can totally build like a clubman. This is a variation on the Berserker, which is like the backbone of the Viking army. It was in the first game too. Big guy. He traded his axe for a club this time because, of course, you're at a golf course. So he does a micro stun and deals area of effect damage. And what you just researched is called a meat thrower. This guy will actually throw stakes at his allies, and while they're walking in front of him, as long as they're damaged, they'll get healed. Okay, so if you go out of there, you can get a couple out there. As you'll see, because this is a 2D RTS, what we have instead of like tactical placement, like in other popular real-time strategy games, where you need to place units from a top-down perspective around certain other units in order to counter them effectively. We kind of have a tactical lineup. So the idea is to have the big bulky guys in front, make sure that the support is in the back so that they don't get hit by the evil guys that are coming towards you.
You mentioned that it's an RTS, so you don't have the option to place the troops wherever you want.
No, you're not going to have the option to place the troops wherever you want. But it still is in essence, it's still a real-time strategy game. You're still gathering your economy, which is really important. You're still researching units in order to destroy the other person's base, and there's still very much a strategy element into it. Of course, because you don't have direct control over the units, most of our direct control comes with the spells. So for instance, on the screen you will see that you just researched the lightning spell, but you also have a polymorph spell, which allows you to turn these tiny little angry imps into sheep, which disables them momentarily and also gives you the ability to kind of mitigate the damage and make sure that you don't get killed. The lightning spell is just a direct damage attack, which will do exactly that. Just zap, boom, and the dude's gone. All right, the portal's down. Good job. Sadly, the big guns are being pulled out right now. So this is the demon base. We really try to make every base look like nice and varied, and have each race have their own kind of style. However, Redbeard's not that interested in this thing. He prefers meat.
Of course, if you have an upcoming threat, so no, we have to eat something, right?
Exactly. So as you see, he wants to eat some steak first before he wants to deal with Fluffy the lizard. All right, so as you can see, your tactical lineup right now is actually really good. You have a couple of healers in the back. You have the Berserker, the strong, the clubman, the strong guys in the front, and that will really that way they kind of complement each other, right? They fill in each other's shortcomings. The front guy is really strong, but eventually he's going to die at some point. So you need to support him with a bit of healing. So you just tossed in some meat, which on the barbecue, and it's grilling, which is one of the minor examples of those alternative goals I talked about at first. This, however, has attracted some unwanted attention. This is the Shield Demon. It's one of the super units in Swords and Soldiers 2. Each race will have one super unit, which will have two modes, basically. Oh gosh, those kamikazes took you out. So super units have a toggle ability, which allows them to kind of do something special. So which kind of helps you, make sure that the front line of the other player, you can kind of overcome it that way. So usually, okay, let's talk about the super spells first. So the big guy just came, the super unit. He's not going to show it here, but he can actually throw units over your front line to kind of bypass all of the guys you built, right? To kind of make sure that it's not always valid to just have a big group of guys in the front, walk to the right and win. We kind of really want to, avoid that because it makes for a kind of silly gameplay and so now, in order to help you, the Viking super spell, the new Viking super spell is being introduced, which is not Thor's hammer, but instead Old Larry. And we're going to look. So he's a really strong guy, and he can punch. Oh, there you go. He's dead. Good job. Nice. All right, that's great. Good job. So he just took out all of these guys in one hit, and that's kind of lame, right? To only have a one-off damage dealing attack. So recently we've decided to go for more of a mini-game-esque approach on these super spells. The new version of O'Leary, the new build, this build is a month old, we took it straight from GDC to PAX, actually has O'Leary in kind of an uppercut game. So once you start punching, things will fly up, and the more you keep punching them, the more damage they'll take, but then you need to keep them in the air, which automatically adds, aside from adding a lot more variety and control on your side and a lot more satisfaction if you do it right, it also adds a bit of tactics, like, do I want to keep punching this tiny group of guys, or do I just want to make sure that every group on the field gets a bit of damage, right? Okay, so you're doing a great job. You're already at the demon base. I'm super impressed. This is really good. So, however, you just built the sheep riders. They are ranged units, which will pierce enemies. So they're really good for tiny blobs of units. And every time they hit someone, they'll lifesteal, so they'll heal themselves. They, however, don't have a lot of health, so you want to make sure something is in front, right? So, once again, like I talked about, tactical lineup, make sure that you have, a nice set, arrangement of units, and then make sure that you win the game, as you did just now.
So you noticed the units. So are you able to unlock units as you play the game, or do you always have a set amount of units, kind of units?
You unlock units as you play the game. So in the campaign, you start as Redbeard, and in the original, what we did was we swapped races, right? So you start with the Vikings, and then you went to the Chinese, and then you went to the Aztecs. In this version, you keep following Redbeard along in his pursuit of Blackbeard, who is still there, who's still, being evil and stuff. And as you go along, instead of just Viking units, you will also unlock units of the different races. This allows for us to make much more varied, interesting designed levels, because let's face it, after you've played the Viking, the Viking loadout for 10 levels straight, you kind of know what's going on. You know which units to build, you know which tactics to take. So we kind of want to throw you guys for a loop and make sure that every level kind of has you, rethink your strategy and make other interesting choices, basically, which makes for very interesting, varied gameplay.
So this is Swords and Soldiers 2. You don't have a set release date, but you're hoping you can release it as soon as possible. Is there anything else you want to mention?
Well, first of all, I really hope as an animator, I'm really happy that we're able to put such a nice, polished, product on a console that deserves way more love than it's getting right now. And I really hope we're getting the fans what they deserve, once this game actually comes out. And thank you very much for playing. I hope you enjoyed the game.
All right, no problem. Soldiers 2, check it out.